Do y'all even ask if the horses are Christian? I'm going to go ahead and say unnecessarily dangerous practice going on out of San Bartolomé de Pinares. I apologize for the pronunciation. I got a nice little streak going on my Duolingo, but I still got a long ways to go, as you can tell by my pronunciation of this Spanish town. So here's this popping off in San Bartolomé de Pinares. Hundreds of Spaniards watched horses gallop through towering flames hours before pet owners in Madrid on Saturday took their dogs and cats to church to be blessed with holy water. One of those rituals sounds all right. Which one you think it is? Well, if you're an atheist, you probably ain't down with none of them. The contrasting Spanish traditions take place every January to honor Saint Anthony the Abbot, the patron saint of domestic animals. And despite criticism from animal rights groups, the horse and fire spectacle draws loyal crowds every year. Las Luminarias, a centuries-old tradition that takes place in the Spanish village of San Bartolomé de Pinares, population 500. So they might be looking for something to get into. No offense, but y'all might be looking for something to get into. If you're looking at the same 500 motherfuckers, hey, look, man, we got to set something on fire. We got to do something different around here, man. I see your ass every day, homie. It's about 100 kilometers, 60 miles. Thanks for the conversion. I'm publicly educated American. Outside Madrid. It's about 100 kilometers, 60 miles outside of Madrid. Riders ride horses through bonfires in the middle of the street. Is an act believed to purify the animals in the oncoming year. In the old days, it was held because it was believed that the branches and the smoke blessed the horses and donkeys, which were used for farming, as a form of healing to prevent them from getting sick and to ensure that they continued working in the fields, said attendee Antonio Patricio, 62. Antonio's ass been coming down there his whole life. Antonio been coming down to the festival, getting faded, since his 20s, probably since his teenage years, getting lit. Now, I understand the ritual taking place back then when the animals, the domesticated animals, were like a central, integral part of the society. So yeah, you want every ounce of positivity and good omen and all of that if you're like depending on these animals to work the fields, if you're eating some of the animals, like if you're depending on them like that, oh yeah, I understand that ritual. Maybe I don't condone it, but I understand you giving importance to this ritual because you depend on the animals to survive. But in 2026, you're dependent on Wi-Fi and microwaves to survive. I think the horse is like, yo, get with the times, man. Let's read on. Antonio's having a good time. That's what we know. Festival started around nightfall. See, this is, and it ain't but 500 of y'all. Y'all getting faded, man. Can I just keep it real? I don't mean it disrespectful. I don't want to disrespect anybody's cultural activities, but y'all sitting up getting faded. There ain't but 500 of y'all. You got liquor, you got fire, you got animals. And it's Friday night, baby. Festival started around nightfall Friday night as giant stacks of tree branches were placed on the side of the street, while locals mow about sharing wine, beer, and sweets. More wine and beer than the sweets. I guarantee you that. Hours later, the stacks are lit. It ain't just the stacks that's lit hours later. Hours later, stacks are lit and become menacing fires that the animals must jump through or around. If I'm a horse, I'm going to say around. I'm going to choose around 100% of the time if I'm a horse. Animal rights groups have long criticized Las Luminarias, but locals say the horses rarely, if ever, get injured. But to see if it's a rarely, if ever, that means it has happened. It never happens. Yeah, one horse got burned the fuck up. Yeah, he tripped and just it got burned up, and he was wailing, and it was awkward. We kept drinking and kept partying, but yeah, it was awkward for a little while. But it rarely happens though. Pet owners waited patiently Sunday Saturday, outside the entrance of St. Anthony's Church in central Madrid, while Catholic priests blessed the passing animals, many of the dogs were wrapped in winter vests, while the cats looked a little more bewildered. But I tell you, the cats and the dogs got a much better shake for this festival than the damn horses. The horses looking over there at the cats getting sprinkled and got jackets on. They look over there like, ain't that a bitch? I'm happy to do it. Madrid resident Rosa Gomez said, holding up her pointy-eared dog Kaya. She's a little dog that was given to us 6 years ago by a family that couldn't take care of her. So we adopted her, and since she's kept us great company. Yeah, that part of the festival is fine. That's not where we need to focus on. And that's why we're back to this part. Hours before the start of Las Luminarias, riders wrap their horses' tails in fire-resistant tape and braid their manes. And I bet they try to get a lot of credit for that shit, too. What do you mean, man? Look, I care about the horse. I wrapped her up in tape. I wrapped her tail up in tape. You see? I care. Some apply a glaze on the animal's mane to prevent them from burning as they leap through the flames. Some? How about all? Shouldn't we make that a requirement? Should we not make that discretionary? Oh, you ain't got none no more? Oh, that's cool. You can still participate. You don't, whatever. You ran out of fire retardant gel for your horse? Nah, don't worry about it. You still got your wine, right? Come on, let's go. Sign them up. Sign your horse up. Others beautify their horses. They beautify them, tightly braiding their manes, tying pink and red ribbons to their tails, wrapping in tape, and adorning them with decorative and probably flammable headpieces. Livestock and farming were common livelihoods in San Bartolomé and scores of other central Spanish villages and towns that now stand empty for much of the year. So wait a minute. Ain't nothing happening. The town is basically a ghost town until y'all come in there to fuck with some horses. Locals say Las Luminarias started after a mysterious illness swept through the village's animals centuries ago, after which people started to believe that smoke could purify and heal the horses. Yeah, centuries ago. If we living off the animals and they're dying and we do something and they stop dying, yeah, fine. It's 2026. Going to Las Luminarias means returning home in the early hours, drunk off your ass. Going to Las Luminarias means returning home in the early hours the next day with clothes and hair that reek of smoke. I think you reek of something else too. Johnny Walker. In Spain's emptying countryside, locals welcome that the tradition brings family, friends, and onlookers to the village for one night each year. It's a family affair to give a horse an extreme amount of unnecessary anxiety. Look, do y'all even ask if the horses are Christian? Shouldn't you check? And not just Christian, y'all specific sect of Christianity. What if the horse is like, I'm a Protestant? No, I'm more spiritual than religious. Then you got to get him out of there. If the horse says any of those, you can't run his ass through the fire. It's not fair. Shouldn't y'all do like some sort of like representational ritual? Why'd you have to reproduce the actual event? Because what do they do? Isn't that China where they dance with the dragons in the street? It's not an actual dragon. It's 12 dudes underneath them pop locking, represent. How about you have two guys with a fake horse costume clopping down, and then you have fake flames, like at Disneyland when they have the ribbons. Fake flames. Less actual horse anxiety. Horse running his ass through that flame. I think some rituals, yeah, of course, should be observed and should be remembered that this practice took place as part of your culture, part of your history, part of your people. I understand. But the horses don't know that shit. You can't go to your friend, hey man, let me do something unnecessarily dangerous to you to commemorate some shit back in the day.